Once upon a time, a wealthy merchant lived in a big mansion with his 3 daughters. All of them were very beautiful. The youngest girl was Bailey. She was known for her loveliness and for being pure at heart. Her sisters, in contrast, were wicked and selfish. But their fortune soon changed. The merchant lost all his wealth in a tempest on sea. So he and his daughters started to live in a small farmhouse in a village. They had to work hard for their living. Some years later, the merchant heard that one of his trading ships had returned to port. Somehow it had escaped the violent storm. Hence, the merchant decided to return to the city to discover whether it still contained anything of value. Before leaving, he asked his daughters,
"Do you want me to bring any gift upon my return?"
Both his elder daughters asked for jewels and fine dresses. But Bailey said,
"Father, promise me you will bring me a rare rose that does not grow in this part of the country."
Having agreed to her request, the merchant set off for the city. When he reached the city, he found, to his dismay, that his ship's cargo had been seized to pay his debts. So he was left with no money to buy any present for his daughters. While returning, he lost his way in a forest. Seeking shelter, he came across a dazzling palace and entered it. Inside, he found tables laden with food and drink, which had apparently been left for him by the palace's unseen owner. The merchant accepted this gift, ate to his heart's content, and spent the night at the palace. The next morning, as the merchant was about to leave, he saw a rose garden and recalled that Bailey had desired a rose. Upon picking the loveliest rose, the merchant suddenly came face to face with a hideous beast. He told the merchant,
"Last night you were hungry and shelterless. Gave you food, shelter, and comfort. And now you are taking away my most precious possession after accepting my hospitality. You must die for your conduct."
The merchant begged to be set free. He argued that he had only picked the rose as a gift for his youngest daughter, Bailey. At last the beast agreed.
"Fine, you can take the rose for Belle, but you will have to return to the castle or else your daughter shall come to stay with me in this castle."
The merchant was upset, but accepted this condition. The beast sent him on his way, with jewels and fine clothes for his daughters, and stressed that Bailey must come to the castle of her own accord. The merchant, upon arriving home, tried to hide the secret from Bailey, but she pried it from him and willingly went to the beast's castle. The beast received her graciously and told her,
"You are the mistress of the castle, and I am your servant."
The beast gave her lavish clothing and food and carried on lengthy conversations with her. Each night, the beast asked Bailey to marry him, only to be refused every time. After each refusal, Bailey dreamt of a handsome prince who pleaded with her to explain why she kept on refusing the beast. She replied each time that she could not marry the beast because she loved him only as a friend. But Bailey could not make the connection between the handsome prince and the beast. She was convinced that the beast was holding the prince captive somewhere in the castle. She searched for him and discovered many enchanted rooms, but never the prince of her dreams. For several months, Bailey lived a life of luxury at the beast's palace, being waited on hand and foot by invisible servants, having no end of riches to amuse her and an endless supply of fine clothes to wear. Eventually she became homesick and begged the beast to allow her to go to see her family. He said he would allow it, only if she would return exactly a week later. Bailey agreed to this and set off for home with an enchanted mirror and ring. The mirror would allow her to see what was going on back at the beast's castle, and the ring would allow her to return to the castle in an instant when turned 3 times around her finger. Her elder sisters were surprised to find her well-fed and dressed in grand clothes. They grew jealous of her happy life at the castle. Upon hearing that she must return to the beast on a certain day, they begged her to stay just for 1 more day. They even put onion in their eyes to make it appear as though they were weeping. They secretly hoped that the beast would grow angry with Bailey for breaking her promise and would eat her alive. Bailey's heart was moved by her sister's false show of love, and she agreed to stay. Bailey began to feel guilty about breaking her promise to the beast and used the mirror to see what he was doing back at the castle. She was horrified to discover that the beast lay hufted out of heartbreak. He lay near those very rose bushes her father had stolen the rose from. She immediately used the ring to return to the beast. Upon returning, Bailey found the beast almost dead. She wept over him, saying that she loved him. As soon as her tears touched him, the beast was transformed into a handsome prince. The prince informed Bailey that long ago a fairy turned him into a hideous beast after he refused to let her in from the rain, and that only by finding true love despite his ugliness could the curse be broken. Then the prince and Bailey got married and they lived happily ever after.